Have you ever been bullied for your looks? Because I remember when I went to elementary school and I always had one guy picking me whenever we had lunch. And he would always call me out for eating one specific vegetable, which was a carrot. And he did this because I had like gigantic front teeth. They were big as fuck. So much that I couldn't even keep my mouth closed. That's why he would call me a rabbit whenever I ate these carrots. And the whole entire class would obviously laugh when he said this. This is just one of the moments where I realized that we get so heavily judged upon our looks. But it actually does make sense why we get judged upon our looks when we look into the theory. Let's just take the halo effect as an example. Our brain has a habit, and that habit is to make quick and unconscious judgments in order to simplify overcomplicated decisions. This means that if we, for example, see a really physically attractive person, we will instantly just think that they are more intelligent, better humor, better social status, etc. Basically meaning that we will overlook the flaws that they potentially have, and instead we will think positively about them. That was actually done a study on 3 different people: an attractive category, an average category, and an unattractive category. And then there were some participants that they asked from 3 different pictures, from attractive, average, and unattractive, what specific traits they thought that they will have. The study actually proved that attractive people were consistently seen as more warm, more attractive, more successful in life, and basically just more happy in general. But I don't want you to get depressed if you aren't currently confident in your looks. Because after helping hundreds of people improving their looks, I realized that there was a pattern, that there were specifically 2 problems that most of the people had that you can actually fix naturally. And that's when I discovered that people aren't genetically disadvantaged or anything like that. It's simply just that the habits that they have been doing has led them to become what they look like today. Because correct tongue posture lets you widen your palate by consistently having your tongue up against it. And the palate supports your maxilla, either making your face drop or develop upwards and forwards. And your maxilla develops your whole entire mid-face. There's a reason for why it's called the bone of beauty. And not chewing correctly trains your mind to actually not engage your facial muscles when chewing, which means that your whole entire face will start to look softer and underdeveloped. But honestly, I can't even blame you for this. Because of all the companies like McDonald's, all the candy that we're eating, it's so soft food. So obviously we can't really train ourselves to chew properly on it. And an unhealthy diet also leads to your face getting more bloated, which means that your facial structure isn't shown, which means that in most cases, it's not your bone mass that is the problem. You don't need bone smashing, all that shit. You just need to show your bones, aka getting lean enough. So let me show you the 2 most common problems that I see in people who aren't attractive, that are currently holding them back from reaching their true potential. So step number 1 is to train your facial muscles. If you didn't know it already, we actually have over 40 different muscles spread across our entire face, meaning that just like you will be able to train your biceps, for example, at the gym to grow them bigger, more attractive, etc., you can do the exact same thing with your face. And if we take chewing, for example, it will train your masseter muscles and your hard palate if done correctly. That's why it either supports or it disrupts your whole entire lower third of your face if you don't train it correctly. So let me teach you exactly how to chew correctly on food. So actually for this action step, it's gonna be a bit different from my usual video. So I want you to find something that you can eat. It can be like a banana, take some fruit, etc. Because then you don't forget how to actually chew correctly later when you are getting a bigger meal. So first thing that you gotta understand with chewing, basically step number 1 of chewing, is to chew bilaterally. So many people, including myself when I was younger, I didn't realize it until like a few years ago that I was actually chewing mainly on one of my sides. And the problem with this is that the masseter muscles, will get more developed on that side, making your whole entire face shift, and it will just look asymmetrical, which is usually why people feel like they're asymmetrical. It's not actually because their bones are all fucked up, it's just an imbalance with their muscles. The second step when chewing is actually something that I just learned recently, and I'm so excited to share this with you. It's actually that we have molars. So basically molars is the back side of your teeth. So you know, you have the front part here, right? And then you have the back side here. These back sides are actually the molars, and those are actually the ones that we want to chew on. The third step is now that you want to breathe through your nose and don't mouth breathe. Like, you want to keep your lips sealed and closed when chewing. The fourth step is also very interesting. When you're chewing, it's your tongue that directs the food. So you don't just swallow when you have chewed like a few times on it. Your tongue directs it. Fifth step is to chew slowly and for more reps. So many people just chew like 3 times on the food and then you swallow. Like, what the fuck? Like, that will make you more bloated because your body needs to work harder to actually break down the food. It literally needs to be like a liquid. That's where the sixth step come in, and that is that you are forming something that's called a bolus. So a bolus is basically just when it's been liquefied. The seventh step is where it becomes interesting, because this is what I call chew mewing. Chew mewing is, as the word says, you're chewing and you combine it with mewing at the same time. So when you're chewing bilaterally, you know, up and down, not from side to side, you also want to think about simultaneously also pressing with your tongue up against the food, you know, on your palate. And then when you have liquefied the food, then here it becomes interesting, because you don't want to use your cheeks for swallowing like this. You don't want to do that. What you actually want to do is just have the tongue be the direction, basically. So what it means is that your tongue does all the movement like this. It presses the food up against the palate, and then you just swallow only, you know, with your tongue, basically, not your cheeks, if this makes sense. Like this. You see, like, I'm not engaging my cheeks like this. That's the difference. So now here we need the food. So now I actually want to show you like how to do it correctly. This is a bit weird, right? But trust me, this will be so effective. So just chew it with me like this. Again, we want to chew bilaterally. Press the food up against the palate with your tongue. It's been liquefied, so now we need to swallow with the tongue. Did you see that? So I didn't use any cheek movement, you just use your tongue. And yeah, that's exactly how you chew. If you just do this consistently over enough months, your face will literally start to develop completely differently in a good way. That's why these things that I teach, like for example chewing, it's so difficult to just say over a video like this, because some people have different problems. So if you want my personal help for free, you can actually go click the second link in the description. It's where I do free calls with you for 1 hour. Now step number 2 is lean is low. The reason why lean is low is, as I said earlier, if you have a bloated face or if you have a high body fat percentage, basically over 13-12%, that's when you actually start hiding away your good features in your face, because the water weight or the fat is covering up your bone size, it's covering up your facial muscles, and that's why you feel like you look underdeveloped. If you, however, are already lean, then it's just a bloating problem. That's why the next time that you're gonna eat dinner, I want you to remember this specific ritual that I always do myself. And that is, when you eat, from now on, don't use salt. Just I'm telling you, don't use salt on the food. That should already be in like the meal, right? So when you cook it, right? And that's fine. But you don't want to add more to it yourself. And the reason for this is because there's a balance that you need to understand. And this balance is what's called potassium versus sodium, where sodium is basically salt, and then potassium is things like, actually, banana. Bananas actually have the highest amount of potassium, and then potatoes have a high amount as well. So you just want to focus on eating more of those things, and then focus less on eating salt, because usually we already have enough salt in our body. After just doing these two things, me and my students have completely transformed our face. We have fixed our side profile, training our supra and infra-hiatal muscles. We have lifted up our hiatal bone by doing that. We have trained our masseter muscles, getting a wider face. We have leaned down, learned how to debloat, so we can actually show our bone structure. But of course, there's so many other things we had to do as well. We have trained our eyes, getting less upper eyelid exposure. We have gotten more firm and elastic eyes by training it. I have whitening my palate, making my maxilla go upwards and forwards. That's why I currently have a course on all the Looksmaxxing methods that will actually get you to the results, so you don't have to overthink about what's working and what doesn't work anymore. And there's also the option for getting my one-to-one coaching as well, if you would rather have me as your personal coach, having me for accountability and etc. If you're interested in this, then you can go have a look at the top link of the description. All the details are there. Now that we are at the end of this video, I really want to say something quickly before you leave, and that is that I have a goal. I want to inspire 1 million people learning that your genetics doesn't hold you back. Like, it's not your genetics fault that you don't look attractive. It's your habits, and that we can absolutely do tons of things to actually improve this. That's why if someone ever tells you that personality doesn't matter, that personality is the only thing that matters and your looks doesn't matter, bro, fuck them. You know for certain that it matters. You know that the treatment that you get is different. Like, I know that it would be a perfect scenario if people just judge each other on the personality instead of the looks, but that's not the world that we're living in. So you might as well play the game instead of being the one who keeps taking the losses. That's why it will mean the world to me if you will go down and click subscribe, so I can spread this message that we can actually do something naturally instead of getting surgeries, bone smashing, all these fucked up things like peptides. We don't need these things. We can do it all naturally. And that's what I want to help people realizing. If you want to keep on learning, then you can go have a look at this video over here. Thank you so much for watching, and have an absolutely wonderful day, bro. Mwah! I love you!